At first, the aliens thought it was a joke. The great and terrible Archon Dominion fleet, with 1,000 ships bristling with plasma cannons and ion lances, had finally cornered Earth's last stray warcraft. Or so they thought. On every sensor, it registered as just that, a single, old-fashioned Terran dropship. A lumbering cargo hauler. A troop carrier from the last century, with heat scars along its hull and the word dropship stenciled in block letters as if it had been borrowed from a museum exhibit. Some alien officers actually laughed. Laughed, out loud, on comms. "This is what the humans send to face us?" scoffed Admiral Threx of the Archon Dominion, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "A bus with engines?" On the bridge of the dropship, Captain Elias Reed sat calmly in the pilot's chair, sipping tea from a chipped ceramic mug. He wore his uniform sloppily, jacket open, boots scuffed, as if the galaxy's most terrifying fleet hadn't just painted targeting locks all over him. The mug had a faded print, "World's Best Dad." He wasn't even a father. He bought it at a thrift store because it made his officers uncomfortable when he sipped from it during negotiations. Elias smiled, polite and harmless, like a teacher about to explain why the dog had, in fact, eaten your homework. "Well," he said softly to no one in particular, "they're all looking at us. That's a good start." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Vance, leaned in from the tactical console, her face half buried in shadows cast by the alien fleet spotlights. "Sir, there are 984 confirmed Dominion vessels in orbit. Capital ships, carriers, dreadnoughts. And us." "Yes," Elias said cheerfully, swirling his tea. "And us." At first, the aliens didn't fire. They wanted to savor it. The fleet tightened its formation, encircling the lone Terran vessel like wolves around a lamb. The alien comms filled with jeers. They sent cargo instead of warships. Humans don't even take us seriously. Maybe they ran out of metal to build ships. On the main view screen, Admiral Threx himself appeared, his mandibles spread in a grin that looked like rusted knives. "Human vessel. This is not a battlefield. This is an execution. Power down and prepare to be boarded." Elias leaned forward, his face filling the feed. His hair was a bit messy, his tone infuriatingly calm. "Good evening, Admiral. Elias Reed, Earth Fleet, retired. I apologize for the inconvenience. I was on my way to deliver cargo." He lifted the mug. "Tea. Very urgent." Some alien officers chuckled. Others frowned. Threx narrowed his eyes. "You mock us?" "Oh no," Elias said smoothly. "I never mock. I'm British. We do irony. Very different tradition." Mara winced. "Captain, you're not British." Elias winked. "Don't tell them that." The tension began to shift when the Dominion sensor crews noticed something strange. The dropship's reactor readings were inconsistent. Its power output was low, then high, then too high, then gone entirely, like a ghost blinking in and out of existence. The ship's outline on scanners flickered, too. One moment it looked like a boxy old hauler. The next, for just a fraction of a second, it appeared as something else. Something larger, angular, bristling with impossible readings, before collapsing back into the dropship signature. Threx dismissed it as a sensor glitch. Fire. But no one fired. Their targeting computers wouldn't lock. Every missile battery, every plasma turret refused to acknowledge the Terran ship. To the Dominion's billion-credit war machines, the dropship was invisible. "Captain," Mara said quietly, "they're confused." "Excellent," Elias murmured, setting his mug down with care. "Confusion is the appetizer. Terror's the main course." When the Dominion finally attempted manual firing, things only got worse. The first dreadnought loosed a volley of plasma beams, but the shots curved mid-space, bending away as if space itself refused to let them land. The beams fizzled harmlessly, scattering like rain on glass. The bridge of the Dominion flagship erupted in alarm. "Impossible!" one officer shouted. "Physics does not bend." "Oh, physics bends just fine," Elias said, overhearing the calm leak with infuriating serenity. You just need the right tune. He tapped the console with one finger. The dropship's hull panels rippled as though the ship were shrugging off its disguise. For a brief instant, the veil peeled back, and the alien saw something vast and terrible lurking beneath the dropship's skin. Something that did not belong in their equations. And then, just as quickly, it looked like a dropship again. The laughter stopped. Fear crept in. Alien captains whispered to each other across encrypted channels. Was this really a dropship? Was this some kind of experimental Terran superweapon? Why had Earth never mentioned it? On the dropship, Mara allowed herself a thin smile. They're scared now. Yes, Elias said softly, folding his hands. Stage 2. Always let them write the story themselves. The imagination is the deadliest weapon in the human arsenal. Stage 3, she asked. Elias's smile widened. Stage 3 is when we remind them that imagination can't hold a candle to reality. The Dominion made a desperate move. 5 carriers broke formation, unleashing fighter swarms, thousands of sleek drones streaking toward the dropship in a glittering cloud of light. Elias finally stood, brushing crumbs off his jacket like he was preparing for a dinner date. Lieutenant Vance, kindly inform the drones that Earth declines their company. Mara's hands danced across the console. Yes, sir. The dropship pulsed once. Just once. A ripple of blue light expanded outward in a perfect sphere. Every Dominion drone froze mid-space, systems dead, drifting like glittering snowflakes. The ripple kept going. Past the drones. Past the carriers. Past the dreadnoughts. One by one, Dominion vessels flickered off the grid. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Just gone. On every sensor in the galaxy, 984 ships ceased to exist. Vanished. The comms filled with screaming. Admiral Threx clawed at his command chair, mandibles trembling. What have you done? Elias tilted his head politely. Oh, nothing. You did it to yourselves. You see, when you surrounded us, you stepped into our circle. We drew it centuries ago. Right here. A nice little snare. He raised his mug again, sipped his tea. And you walked straight into it. The surviving Dominion scouts fled, their sensors blank, their screams echoing into the void. They would carry the story across the stars. How the Terrans had hidden a weapon so dreadful that a single dropship erased an entire fleet. Back on the dropship, Mara stared at her captain. Sir, was it really the snare? Or was it the ship? Elias smiled faintly. Yes. Which is it? He leaned back in his chair, eyes on the void where the fleet had been. If they can't tell the difference, then we've already won. The galaxy would later whisper of that day as a myth. Some called it sorcery. Some called it forbidden tech. Some said the humans had bargained with the void itself. But those who knew humans best just shook their heads. It wasn't sorcery. It wasn't luck. It was human nature. Because while aliens built bigger guns and larger fleets, humans built stories. Traps. Ironies. They smiled while laying the snare, they sipped tea while springing it, and when the fleet surrounded their lone dropship, the humans only saw one thing. Dinner.